Richician!
Hey YouTube, Richician84 here, back for another top 10 video. And in this episode, as part of the celebrations for Dark January, I'm counting down my top 10 favourite incarnations of Dark Magician that I played over the years. And I'm wearing the hoodie for the occasion. I would have liked to wear my Dark Magician t-shirt, but that's in my wash, but this'll do. So yeah, I've played many incarnations over the years. More specifically, sorry, I'm just trying to work it out in my head. 17, no, yeah, 17 or 18 if you count when I mixed my Dark Magician and Yugi deck together back in 2006 when I entered a traditional format tournament. Now, one rule for this video is that I'm not going to include Dark Magician girls / Magician girls because, well, while it is technically a Dark Magician incarnation which plays Dark Magician, he's not the boss monster and the focus of either of those decks. Same with my generic spellcasters. I mean, yes, there's one Dark Magician, and he is a boss monster, or the main deck boss monster rather, therefore making it count as a Dark Magician deck incarnation. Again, that's not the focus of the deck, and it's more of an indirect incarnation. And I'm also definitely not including Dark Magic Strike and Dark Magic Lockdown, because they're bullshit decks that I wish I'd never made. I mean, Dark Magic Lockdown was just toxic. I mean, it didn't work very well, but the fact that I was trying to use Raw Decree and Secret Village to stop anyone playing, and use the attack lock with Magician's Valkyria, it just wasn't fun. Oh, and this was before I officially hated lockdown decks of any kind, by the way. Yeah, it's something I wish I hadn't made back in 2009. Same with Dark Magic Swarm. It was just a failure, and it just didn't work when I wanted it to, and it let me down on too many occasions, and it just brings back too many bad memories. Excuse me. So, with this in mind, let's actually begin. So starting things off at number 10 is Prisma Magician, a deck which an old friend of mine, Russ, came up with. Very simple strategy. Use Prisma to reveal Dark Paladin and send Dark Magician to the graveyard so he copies his name, which makes it easier to use Thousand Knives and Dark Magic attack. Then bring Dark Magician back from the graveyard with things like Monster Reborn, Premature Burial, before that got banned, and Birthright. Oh yeah, and Swing of Memories. So it was a lot of fun to do, and you know, it did work when I didn't brick, but that was an issue with this deck, just getting too many bad hands, and you know, it also loses to macro or just other banished cards, because if I can't use my graveyard, then I can't play the game, which was so frustrating. So, it was great for what it was for a while and a lot of fun, but in the end I just got fed up of losing because I was getting bad hands, so that's when Legendary Hero came along. But all the same, still an iconic incarnation of the deck which I played for over 2 years. Shame I didn't win any tournaments with it, well, except that tag team one, which I won by default, but yeah, didn't even make it into the top 2. But yeah, still great and very iconic in that right. Number 9, Dark Magic Spell Counter. Basically another creation I made back in 2009, which didn't stick around very long. I mean, I made it in June that year, played it in a tournament, didn't work out that well. I mean, yeah, I won 2 matches, but I lost the other 3, which was annoying. And one of those wins was a win by default, because my opponent, Sam, just basically started not feeling well, so he didn't play that round. And then I tried to give it another chance back in July, but again, I just wasn't sure it worked out that well. It was a great idea though, combining Dark Magician cards with the Spellcaster's Command Structure deck, and throwing in some other generic Spellcaster support. Yeah, it's just great fun using Citadel and Endymion, the Master Magician, as the other boss monster. I mean, it was okay. I mean, honestly, I just wanted to make this because Prisma Magician wasn't working out at the time, and neither was Dark Magic Sworn, and I was basically trying to go back to playing Dark Magician the old way, but with the structure deck cards. Shame it didn't really work out, but still a lot of fun. I love anything with spell counters, well, except for modern Endymion, but yeah, it was just fantastic and still a lot of fun all the same. Number 8, Dark Magician Hero. Something I came up with in late 2011. Didn't work out at first, but then I gave it another chance and found a way to make it work. Yeah, I came up with the idea because, well, Legendary Hero was great and a lot of fun. I missed having a deck where Dark Magician was the only focus. And I wanted to play a Dark Magician deck again, but at the same time I knew that my hero decks were having a lot more success than any spellcaster variant I had at the time, and super polymerization was the only and best way I had to deal with negates like Heraclinos, Shen and Naturia Beast. So I sort of tried to go down the middle and play a hero deck with Dark Magician as the boss monster, hence the name Dark Magician Hero. The first draft of it didn't work out very well. It was just bricky and inconsistent, but then after Dark Magician Month in 2012, I decided to give this deck another chance and made a version which turned out to be a lot better, and I was able to top in tournaments a lot more. Shame I didn't win any locals with it, but there was one time where I almost did. Came second, but lost to fucking mermales. Yeah, it just ran beautifully. Yeah, there were times where I had an off day, but it was just still an amazing deck. Ran great, it was a lot of fun, and I made top 32 in the last nationals. Not nationals, regional that I attended, where I finished 26th out of 60 players, and I was one of 9 hero players attending the event. So yeah, I got 3 wins, 3 losses. The losses being against TG Photon, Machina Gadget and Insectors, but I did, however, beat Heretics and 6 Samurais, although the Samurai win was pure luck more than anything, since it's a deck that I generally didn't do very well against. Yeah, Dark Magician Hero, whoops, was fantastic, and still is. Number 7, Dark Magic Strike. A really, really fun version of the deck. Something I came up with back in 2006. Now, I saw a deck in the Yu-Gi-Oh! World magazine where there was a Strike Ninja deck which was running Hinu Kaiju Suchi, that 2800 attack spirit monster. And I liked the idea behind it, using Strike Ninja to banish the Scout Planes, have all 3 come back in the end phase, and then troop it off the Scout Planes for Hinu Kaiju Suchi. And in the spring that year, I decided to do the same thing, but with Dark Magician and Dark Magician of Chaos. I thought I'd try it out after not having the best luck 3 tournaments in a row, where I went 2 wins and 3 losses, which I didn't like. I never liked getting only 2 wins. Usually the best I can do in those is 3 wins and 2 losses. There were 2 times, including that traditional format tournament, where I went 4 wins and 1 loss, but yeah, I just wasn't having the best luck with Dark Magician at that point, so I tried to change things up. It didn't make a difference really. I still went 2 wins and 3 losses. Right, yeah, it's better than getting only 1 win or not winning any games at all, but I just liked trying to win as many as I could, although thankfully my losses were only 2-1 wins. But anyway, still a great fun strategy. And Graceful Charity was legal as well, so that was another way to dump my Scout Planes into the graveyard. And this was also when Dimension Fusion was at 3. That was glorious. And I was also playing Soul Absorption, which helped boost my life points whenever monsters, or rather cards, just got banished. With Dark Magician of Chaos recycling all these good spells as well, it was just great. So much fun. Shame it's not really practical doing it this way nowadays, considering that you don't really need to set up tribute fodder for Dark Magician, because we have Eternal Soul, Magician Navigation, Magician Salvation, Magician Souls, but still fun playing modern cards with these ones though, and at least this way this engine is also great for setting up some Link plays and Xyz plays. Gotta love it. I do miss playing the deck that way, but hey, at least I have 2 different versions of the deck, April 06 and April 2014. Number 6, Prophecy Dark Magician. I love the Prophecy and Spellbook cards. They're so awesome. They have great effects, and the artwork is just beautiful. Yeah, this was another archetype that I tried to lean more towards, to play a spellcaster variant of Dark Magician again, back in the autumn of 2012. Unfortunately, High Priestess was way too expensive and too difficult to get. I mean, I was able to get the other cards that were out at the time, but it was a struggle. I did get 2 copies though. I picked one up in a trade, and then I pulled another one from a pack. But it was in a pack opening that I didn't record. So annoying. That would have been epic to have on camera, but not that it matters, since even if I would have had it, that video would have been long gone. So yeah, when I got all the cards, I played the deck, and yeah, it ran well enough, but then not so much later on. I started struggling again against more competitive decks, which is a shame, because I entered this in a tournament and did quite well, but then not so much afterwards. So I stopped playing it. I kind of wish I hadn't given up on it though. It was a lot of fun, and it did work great once everything got going. Then again, it was probably just as well, because later on Spellbook of Judgment came out, and so did the World of Prophecy, both of which expensive secret rares. Although I don't remember how expensive though. And then of course Judgment got banned like 3 months after its release. So I would have been fucked if I was playing more than 1 copy of it. I mean, I could have put one in my banned card collection though, but then I'd have a copy that I just can't do anything with. Anyway, it was still fantastic, and yeah, the Dark Magician and the Prophecy cards do complement each other very well, because I can special summon Dark Magician off Temperance and Spellbook of Life, which is great. So at least I'd have more options of something to special summon off Temperance. I mean, High Priestess is better, but I just like having the option of using these, or either of them, as the boss, you know, depending on the situation. And of course, if I was playing the World of Prophecy, that would have been thrown in as well. Truly epic. I kind of miss playing spellbooks. Number 5, Magician of Chaos. Such a cool ritual monster. Now, you would think this would be my favourite ritual monster instead of Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier. But yeah, I don't know if I have it as number 1, considering it's not that easy getting full use out of Magician of Chaos, well, at least in regards to the secondary effect. I mean, the effect to pop cards whenever a spell trap or spell or trap effect is activated is just amazing. It can be annoyingly disruptive, but there are ways around it. Yeah, it's just so cool having a literal ritual counterpart to Dark Magician, and just does so much more for the deck. although it does require additional cards to get a lot of use out of it. You know, chaos form, advanced ritual art, and of course ritual searchers. It is fun playing a deck based on him though. I did try my Dark Magician deck with just one copy of it and one chaos form. It was okay, but didn't come up a lot. I feel like I would have got more use out of it if I'd played multiple copies and more chaos and Lackluster Soldier ritual monsters. But then again, it would make the deck bricky. I mean, that is the problem with a deck based on Magician of Chaos. It can brick. But I've tried to think of ways to make it so it doesn't brick. Now, while the effect of pop cards is good, I also just really like having fun using it to bring out other ritual monsters with its effect. These being the main choices. Now, obviously, Magician of Chaos players will typically go for Magician of Chaos Max, and of course Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, a really strong and iconic ritual monster. But I also really like having the option of Blackluster Soldier Super Soldier, because, well, like I said, he's my favourite ritual monster, and I just had to have him in there. So it's just a really fun ritual package, and you know, Chaos Max has helped me out more than the others, but yeah, Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier can be just as good and do quite a bit of damage, which is very helpful. I would like to have more games with that deck at some point, or maybe play it as a separate deck but with a different Dark Magician artwork. I don't know. Number 4, Dark Paladin, one of my top 3 favourite fusion monsters. This was the first Dark Magician deck I'd ever played. Now, I did run Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl in my random deck, but then I wanted like a somewhat proper Dark Magician deck, and I decided to go with Dark Paladin. That's, well, it's just such a cool card, and actually not difficult to bring out. Although, maybe it kind of was at the time. I mean, yeah, I had Emblem of Dragon Destroyer to search for Buster Blader, and I did also have King of the Swamp to search Polly, but there was hardly anything that could search Dark Magician at the time. In fact, I had to try and rely on skilled Dark Magician and skilled White Magician to get the fusion materials. Didn't always work out though, and a lot of the time it would involve having to hard draw Dark Magician, basically. So yeah, eventually I put the deck together. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, especially not against more competitive decks, but when I'd bring it back for other occasions, I built it properly and it just worked a lot better. And it's just so much fun if I'm going up against anything with dragons, and gives them a nice buff. I can't remember how many what the most amount of attack points was that I got him up to. I know in an endurance I got him to like round about 10,000, or slightly less, slightly more, can't remember exactly. And I'm not keen on the spell effect though. Spell negation effect though. Yeah, that's the only thing about him that I don't like. Especially since I hate Naturia Beast and Hope Harbinger, and yeah, they do the same thing, but I think Dark Paladin is more fair and balanced, because, well, unlike the other two, this can only be played in one deck, plus I have to discard a card, which is a lot to give up, whereas milling 2 cards off Beast is nothing to give up, whereas Hope Harbinger is just a free spell negate. And they can be used in pretty much anything, whereas you can't really play Dark Paladin in anything and everything, so it's just restricted to Dark Magician decks, or even Buster Blader if you wanted to tech in a Dark Magician or a King of the Swamp. And to be fair, there are still ways to easily overcome Dark Paladin, especially with monster effects and traps. But yeah, Dark Paladin, very cool, very iconic, and to be fair, like, I don't even have a full-on Dark Paladin deck anymore, and I still play it in my Dark Magician deck, but he hardly ever comes out, like, ever. And I do have him in my Magician Girls, but again, getting him out and the other Dark Magician fusions is very situational, because I've only got one Dark Magician in there and one Eye of Timaeus, so I'm not likely to summon it in my Magician Girl deck. Anyway, in at number 3, yes, number 3, a fan favourite, Dark Magician and Fusion Friends. Now, this was something I randomly came up with, like, just over a year ago, actually, because at the time I was on a temporary tournament return, because at the time I had a goal of both trolling tier elements with Penguin Knight and trying to face Weber's 5 with his Endymion deck and have Dark Magician defeat Endymion once and for all. And I was just thinking, maybe Dark Magician should have some outside help. Because Rainbow Neos, of course, is a great way of countering decks that need the graveyard, especially tier elements. So I figured that would be good against it. Destroy a Phoenix Enforcer. Well, I threw that in along with Fusion Destiny, Celestial and Dasher, and it got me thinking, well, these cards, well, DP was a big help against Endymion when I defeated Endymion with Destiny Heroes, so why not use it again? Then of course there is the main Super Poly package, the 2 Predaplants, Trip and Dracostapelia, plus Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and also Albion, because at the time I was playing this card, Branded Fusion, Fallen of Albaz and Light Hex Sealed Fusion, which were in the deck before, and that was an idea given to me by Gungner as a way to turbo out Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. And it did work quite well for what it was, even though I wasn't very successful in the tournament. I mean, my matchup, giving the lowdown of my matchups, Jude with Naturias, well, he just played better, couldn't really get anything going. Same with Damien with Goatee. Goatee was something I underestimated. I thought they wouldn't be that bad. Boy, was I wrong. They are just so disruptive that it gets to a point where I can't play, and they're full of cheap shot banish cards, and in that match I was robbed of victory. I did win against Agents though, so I got one win, and against Ishizu Tears, used by Silver Cyclone, I actually could have won against that deck. I mean, I did win game 1, and I probably could have won game 2, but I messed up with DPE, because he had Dracus Tapelia and targeted it, and I forgot that DP was a quick effect. If I'd have remembered that, I could have played around it, and I don't think he would have had a way to get around it, and yeah, so annoying. Like, I could have and should have won, and then I'd have got 2 wins and 2 losses. Still, it was such a cool, fun deck, and yeah, it did work well, provided I didn't see fusion bits that didn't go together. That makes sense. Number 2, another iconic deck, Legendary Hero. Technically a Dark Magician deck, Incarnation, but it's also based on, but it's more of a hero deck based on the protagonist's ace monsters. First it was these 3, Dark Magician, Neos and Stardust Dragon. Then when Xyzes came into the game, Utopia came along. And then when Pendulums and Links came in, I tried the best I could to include On Ice Pendulum Dragon, Decode Talker and Firewall Dragon. And eventually I found a way to put all 7 of them in, and I just about managed to make it work. I mean, not at first though. Yeah, well, it did work quite well. It's hard getting every single one of them out. Sometimes only a few come out. It's just a pity that it's just not as amazing as it was in 2011. The way I made it work was really cool though, combining my Dark Magician, Elemental Hero and Rainbow Neos decks together to make one deck. It was the best way I could think of to make it work. Of course I can't take all the credit though. This was something that Notu Lord of Light and now Inkweaver and Ultimate Gamer 31 came up with back in 2010. As they asked me, could a deck with Dark Magician and Neos in the same deck work? Now at first I said no, but then I thought, wait, actually it probably could, because they have similar support cards. So I found a way to make that work, and throw in Stardust Dragon, and then of course these guys came along later. And it became one of the best and most iconic decks I ever played. That's pretty much all there is to it. Now before I unveil the number 1 pick, I'm going to list a few honourable mentions. So the honourable mentions go to Dark Eradicator Warlock. Very cool card, and yeah, this is basically the only burn deck I will happily play. I don't normally like burn decks, but I think battle burn like Dark Eradicator Warlock is okay, as long as there's no stally cards. Trickstars, however, is the only battle burn deck that is not okay in my book and should never have been a thing. It was very hard to play back in the day, but nowadays it's more viable and it's so easy to bring out. So yeah, it's something I could play if I wanted to. Another honourable mention goes to Dark Magician Knight. A very cool card that can just outright pop a card on summon. Yeah, only downside is it is mandatory and it wasn't easy to bring out at first, but obviously Prisma made it easier, and now again with the more modern support it is so easy to bring out, and it's something really cool that can easily be played nowadays. Next honourable mention goes to Gagaga Dark Magician. This was really just an excuse to get a lot of use out of Ebon Illusion Magician, really, because the gimmick of Gagagas is great, just being able to go into whatever Xyz monster you want, pretty much. But with the Dark Magician stuff, you'd mainly want to go for rank 7s, and you know, Ebon Illusion Magician would be the go-to one. I can do other things with the deck, you know, the standard Gagaga plays, but this was something that worked out really great. Then the next honourable mention goes to another very successful incarnation, Pendulum Dark Magician. Oh, let's get Odd Eyes in here, there we go. Now this was something that was only around for a brief while, we're talking like 2 or 3 months, and it was just something I wanted to play temporarily until we got the Dark Magician support from the Dark Illusion, and I put this together as an excuse to run Ebon Illusion Magician, because it had a European reprint, and yeah, it was legal for tournament play in the UK, and I figured, well, the Odd Eyes and Pendulum Magicians would be a great way to help out with that. And that was a lot of fun. I only played it in 3 tournaments though. First one finished second, second one didn't do as well, but I think I got like 2 wins maybe, I can't remember. But the last one I played it in, just won the whole thing. It was glorious, especially when I took out Psy-frames along the way. That was very satisfying. I mean, I would have carried on playing it, but I really wanted to play pure Dark Magician again. But playing Dark Magician and Pendulum cards together was fun while it lasted. And then of course the last honourable mention goes to Kaiju Dark Magician. So basically it was my pure Dark Magician deck, but with Kaijus thrown in. It was just something I thought of, so that I could deal with, well, negates basically if I encountered them. Yeah, as well as Super Poly, Kaijus are easily the best way to get rid of annoying bullshit monsters that don't let you play. So I figured, why not run a deck with these? Shame it didn't work out very well in that locals I played in. I thought I would have been able to easily win against Endymion with this, but not quite. Well, it potentially could have been a draw, but I lost on fucking end of match procedure. Along with the fact that, actually no, it wouldn't have been that. Wait, no, yes it was. it was also the fact that Weber's 5 was able to climb into Access Code Talker, even though I used Dimension Barrier to stop him using any pendulums. That was just absolute bullshit. But I still did well with the deck all the same, or as well as can be. So yeah, it's more of an anti-meta strategy more than anything, but still pretty good for what it was. And that's something else I'd love to play again. So I need to make that happen, just like with games with Magician of Chaos. And finally, in at number 1, as you can probably guess, my favourite incarnation is pure Dark Magician. I mean, was there ever any doubt? I mean, yeah, these alternative incarnations were fun and good for what they were, but my heart's been more set on playing Dark Magician Pure, the longest running incarnation. It's just a lot more fun and a lot more easier to play. I mean, like, for me this was like my signature deck, the signature way of playing my favourite card, an Ace Monster. Plus it's just a hell of a lot easier playing him that way than mixing him with other things. And it just worked better. It just flows so well, whether it was like pre-synchro variants or the modern Dark Magician deck that's played today. Yeah, now it's the strongest deck I have, if not one of the strongest, although it didn't feel like that in the Dark Magician Gauntlet Challenge. I'm still just really annoyed and upset that I bricked against Matt and Alison Welch, and kind of salty. I mean, maybe I'd have had more of a chance if my Eternal Soul didn't leave the field, but luck just wasn't on my side. I mean, it was still a good challenge regardless, but just wasn't happy about the way I lost. Again, that was bullshit. But anyway, I digress. I mean, yeah, people have asked me, are you going to bring this version of Dark Magician back? Are you going to bring back that version? I love Dark Magician and Fusion Friends. Well, yeah, they were great and fun, like I said, in their own rights, but I just have my heart set on pure Dark Magician more. It just works better for me, and pure Dark Magician is my main thing, my main jam. That's what I'm all about. Just having some fun with my absolute favourite card in the game, yeah, and then there's the fact that I have had tournament success with this deck as well, winning a few locals. Who knows, I'm sure at some point I'll win a minor league tournament with this deck, or if not that, then Dark Magician Ritual mode or Dark Magician Kaiju mode. I think I might do that later this month. In fact, how many Mondays are left at the time of recording? There's 3 left, so yeah, I might have to do that. I mean, I know I was planning to use my Elemental Heroes in the next minor league tournament, but they'll have to wait. I think it's time for pure Dark Magician Ritual mode and Dark Magician Kaiju mode to shine. Plus, Dark Magician needs some redemption after my very first minor league tournament. As yeah, getting done in by Sky Strikers wasn't fun, and yeah, messing up with Gene Raiders and struggling against them wasn't great either. But at least I got one win. Well, two if you count the bye, but byes mean nothing. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are my top 10 favourite Dark Magician deck incarnations. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and a comment, share and subscribe if you haven't subbed already. And let me know in the comments if you are also a big Dark Magician fan like me. And what's your favourite way of playing Dark Magician? Could be anything, even Dragoon Dot deck, I suppose. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the Dark Richician YouTube channel.